Hello and welcome to the second episode of Deck Dissections. Today we are gonna dissect Rogue, in particular Questing Rogue. I think this deck has gained a lot of popularity recently and it's been one of my favorite tournament decks because if you can ban Shaman and get that matchup out of the way, it's one of the best decks in the game. The issue with this deck is it's very bad against Shaman, but even against Shaman you can sometimes cheese the wins. Let me explain the deck and show you what cards are staples and with what cards you can experiment and what kind of variations of the deck you can have. Let's take a look. First of all, I think that these 23 cards have to be in every single Questing Rogue deck. Even though it's called Questing Rogue, I think you can even play this deck with one Questing. In very aggressive, very fast meta games, you will want to play 2 SI and 1 Questings. In very slow or mid-range meta games, you will want to play 2 Questings and 1 SI. Sometimes maybe 2 Questings and 0 SI. SI Agent is not that great other than the Zoo matchup, maybe the Mirror match if you can backstab SI a Pillager, or some other aggressive matchups. Usually you want 2 Questings in mid-range and heavy control meta games. Mostly in mid-range meta games. He's best against Druid, if you don't play 2 Questings, you don't have that great of a deck against Druid. Well, if you play 2 Questings, your matchup is really good. The 0 mana cards are super important in this deck. Backstab allows you to not only clear your opponent's minions, but also, I forgot one of the cards, very important card, sorry. I forgot Bloodmage Talnos. Yeah, he's also a staple card, so you have 24 staples, excuse me. Backstab works really well with the spell power from Talnos, with the spell power from Azure Drake. Combos with SI, combos with Questing and with Van Cleef, cycles with Auctioneer. He's not that great with Pillager, but sometimes you can do backstab attack with a weapon to kill a specific minion or two, and then you drop your Pillager, and then they cannot really remove Pillager, and then they are in a bad spot, and then you just snowball from there. Preparation is probably the bread of the deck, if the rest of the cards are the butter. Or is it the butter? Well, doesn't matter. The analogy is not important. It just makes Rogue be Rogue. It allows you to do the power plays, allows you to combo any spell with Van Cleef for Questing or to draw with Auctioneer. Or sometimes when you're in desperate need, you can just play Pillager, prep a spell, or Drake, prep a spell, usually Fan. Fan of Knives is a very controversial one. I don't think you can cut any of the Fan of Knives, no matter how slow the metagame is, because this deck relies on cycling. If you cannot cycle, that's how you lose most of the time. Now, let's get into some other cards, into the one-offs. Why would I recommend at least one sap? Is because if you ban Shaman, actually, if you let Shaman free, I don't think you need 2 saps. 2 saps is very bad against Shaman. If you ban Shaman, usually you can play 2 saps. But if what you target is Warrior and decks without taunts, then sap is not really that great. But if you face taunt decks or mirror matches or yeah, just Druid overall, sap is good as a 2-off. Sap is also a 2 mana spell which combos really well with most of the cards in your deck, and that's a plus. But sometimes it can be dead, especially if you draw 2 of them. The best way, and my solution, is to run at least 1 sap and 1 Shadow Strike. So if you run 1 sap, you have to run 1 Shadow Strike too. Even if you run 2 saps. In the current metagame, I would recommend 2 saps. Especially on ladder, if you want to play this on ladder. Again, if you play it on ladder, you have to just get lucky to avoid the Shamans. If you face Shamans, you can still beat them. You have to go all in and hope they don't have the answers. It's still a winnable matchup. For ladder, I would definitely recommend running double SI Agent. For tournament play, you can consider running only 1, but it depends on what you want to target. Now, Deadly Poison is, I think, necessary in this deck, at least as a one-off. You should run 2 Deadly Poisons if you want to, if you ban Shaman, because this card is awful against Shaman. Also, he's really good in the mirror match. It's just helps you push some more damage against Warrior and against Druid when you need it. And maybe you can run 2 of it. But at the moment, I like to run 1 Swashbuckler on ladder. It's just a high roll card. you cut the poison to run the Swashbuckler, and you'll have some games. Like if you watched me playing against Eloise in like the best of 17 Celestial League just today when I record the video, Swashbuckler helped me a ton. Like he's such a powerful card when you get lucky. And if you get unlucky, you don't lose that much because it's a 1 mana card. And I would not play 2 Swashbucklers, that's a bit too wacky for my likeness, whatever. But one of it is really nice, in my opinion. And now we almost constructed the deck. The other tech choices you can do is like, you could play like double questing, which I think is fine. You could also play Leroy. Yeah, I would definitely recommend the Leroy in tournaments. But on ladder, I actually think Salty Deckhand is a bit better if you want just faster, more powerful games. Leroy just costs you in the Control Warrior matchup. The Control Warrior matchup is the matchup where Leroy is needed the most. So if people on ladder play Control Warrior, I would play Leroy. If they don't, I would play a Deckhand. Other than that, you can also like consider Journey Below if the meta is like super greedy. For example, for my last call championship for Europe, I played the double Deadly Poison, 1 Journey Below, and no Swashbuckler, and I played Leroy over Deckhand. And I also played 1 SI, 2 questings. That was my version, 2 saps for the last call. But for ladder play, something like this, and you need 1 more card. You guys could try even double Swashbuckler, but it's a bit too much in my opinion. I would probably just still go for double questing, because there's still like a lot of slow matchups where double questing is very efficient. Other cards that you can consider, maybe Violet Teacher. I really don't like her, to be honest, but in a very, very aggressive meta, where I'm not sure why you would play Rogue in a very aggressive meta, but again, for the slow meta, another option is Saril. Is not such a bad card in this deck, especially since he gives you 2 extra 1 mana cards that can help you with the questing game plan. And okay, here's like some interesting cards that some people play and I don't really like. Like some people play City Huckster, which I think is very, very bad. The thing with Swashbuckler is that he's 1 mana, so you fit him way easier than 2 mana. With 2 mana, usually you want to do more powerful plays and you want to like dagger and you will not have extra mana most of the time. You want to be like very, very aggressive. I see also a lot of people playing Barnes, which I think is a total joke. Barnes is such a bad card in this deck. Like, let me explain why he's a bad card. Let's look at all the cards you can get. Swashbuckler and Deckhand are not that good. Talnos is really nice. Edwin is just blank. Questing is okay, but I will explain later why I don't like it. SI is a blank. Tomb Pillager is probably the best you can get, and Drake is like a bit worse than Talnos because he doesn't give you the death rattle, and Auctioneer is like okay. Why do I say that Questing and Auctioneer are okay? Is because usually you will want to play Barnes on turn 4 or 5, turns in which you probably don't have that much spare mana, and unless you have a Preparation or a Backstab, the Auctioneer and the Questings are gonna be just useless if you get it out of Barnes. So what I like heavily recommend is just not playing Barnes. He's like only good on turn 7, and let's say you have turn 7 and you have a Questing, an Auctioneer, some spells and Barnes. Are you going to play Barnes and try to get lucky to get Auctioneer to get a 2 mana cost reduction and then like get some value out of the Preparation? I think it's just very, very risky, and I don't recommend playing Barnes. It's just not consistent enough for this deck. Barnes is good in decks that have a lot of death rattles, because you play him on turn 4 and you just get a death rattle value out of him, and that's like the insane part of Barnes. But yeah, this is pretty much what I would play at the moment on ladder. It's a very solid list. If the meta becomes very Shaman and Zoo heavy, and you still want to play Rogue, which I don't really recommend because Shaman and Zoo are the worst matchups, you could add Dark Iron Skulker, but I don't think he fits this deck. It's just against the game plan. And if you add Skulker, you can cut a questing for it. But this is how you can play around with the deck. I definitely recommend you guys to give it a shot. It's pretty good against Hunter, especially if you play with Sassy and Swashbuckler. It's insanely good against Druid. I think it's favored against Warrior, maybe not with the deckhand, but if you're still playing ladder, you probably are fine. This version should win the mirror match, should destroy the Malygos Rogue, and Priest Paladin are not even a consideration. I think it's also 50-50 against Tempo Mage. It's a very weird matchup, but it's one of the most fun decks to play in Hearthstone. It encourages you to just do very YOLO plays, where you like play one minion, conceal it, and the next time you try to like set up lethal, like you go Cold Blood, conceal, and usually if one minion survives one turn after you play it, and you have the opportunity to just go all in, you should probably do it if you can set up a two turn lethal, or a two turn damage, followed up by some extra damage from the hand. It's a deck that will help you like learn Hearthstone better, and also like reward you if you play it like really well. If not on ladder, in tournaments, like if you can play like some open cups, or if you find some cups tournaments, I would heavily recommend this deck if you can ban Shaman. Again, if you ban Shaman, I will cut the deckhand for Leroy, but other than that, it's like a super solid deck. Again, like I told you about the meta call you can make with the saps and with the questings. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed my questing rogue guide, and have fun questing. What can I say? See you guys next time.